I don't really know how to start shows.
Come on now, don't start liking me now.
So yeah, I'm funny compared to, well, you'll see later. I stand for mayhem. I know a lot of idiots who think a lot of is mean-spirited just because it goes against what they believe. But the relief of comedy is it takes things that aren't funny and it allows us to laugh about them for an hour.
We got a purple suit to buy and a gigantic coffin.
Why are you laughing?
In the history of The Tonight Show, I say with honesty, I am nervous.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Why You Laughing, a history of comedy podcast. And today, I am pleased to introduce to you Don Rickles on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. Don Rickles might be the best example ever of what funny people can get away with versus unfunny people. But Rickles just has a way about him where you kind of ignore those little things. But I can't think of anyone that lived up to Rickles, really. Like we talked about Joan Rivers on Carson, but that was its whole, there was like controversy there. I'm talking about just as a guest. I don't link anyone to Carson the way I do Rickles. I can't think of who would even be second in line, really. It's interesting to hear Rickles credit someone for his career as much as he does Johnny. Yeah, so this is a Friars Club roast that Rickles was a part of. And this is while Johnny was still in New York. The mayor of New York was there. So I think this is right before Johnny left New York for Los Angeles. And this is some of Rickles' roast here.
Once in a while, they'd move your body or they're going to throw dirt on you. It's a great treat to have Ed Sullivan being wheeled in here to be with you tonight. Johnny, I'd like to say from the bottom of my heart, nobody likes you. You're a vicious guy. Hope you go back to Nebraska and get a fungus all over your body. His mother was supposed to be here tonight, but the pickup broke down. He's out on the highway with his father going, "Oh, Johnny loves us." And Miss Bonnet, you staying up late?
I think another thing Rickles is a great example of is timing, and how important timing is when it comes to, just delivering a punchline or something. Because there are things he does that if you watch every clip of Don Rickles, you'll see some repetition. Like I said, he pays a lot of respect. We're going to hear a couple clips, I think, of him really crediting Carson for launching his career.
Isn't that a good one, huh, John? How does it feel to hear laughter instead of sitting up there at 12 o'clock at night interviewing Hunt's Hall?
What are you saying?
I was to say, I don't know who Hall is, but it's just a great name to use in that movie.
Yes. Yeah. No clue who that is.
Doing Hunt's Hall.
Someone from the silent film era, probably.
I kid you, Johnny, and the Honorable Mayor, I say this in jest, sir. Not that I have to apologize because you're a wonderful man. I remember backstage when you came over to me and said, "I'm the mayor." He's calling the cops and they're all sitting here drinking. I always say in my humor, it is delightful when you kid big people. The mayor is a very prominent man. Everyone on the stage is prominent. My whole life, my dad, rest his soul, he told me, "Don, if you laugh at authority and you try to do it with dignity, it is fun." Johnny Carson, as Alan King mentioned, gave me my start on television with the late night shows, and I'm very grateful to him. I kid about him. I flew here from California in his honor. Not that I should win a medal for that, but it is nice to know that someone is that important to you, that you can take time out from your career to pay respect to a guy that gives his all. And when he believes in you, he certainly goes all the way. Mr. Carson has done everything in his power to further my career. I am forever grateful on behalf of my wife and my little baby girl, Mindy Beth, and my mother in Miami. You are a good... I always say that because she's in the will. But to you, John, really, may God be good to you, and I wish you what I have. People that care, and you certainly do have that. Bless you.
Well, I think you'll see Rickles get like that sometimes when he's roasting people. At the end, he will, kind of get serious for a moment. I don't know if I've heard any as genuine as that, where he's bringing up, lessons he learned from his father and applying them to Johnny Carson. So this is still early 70s. This is probably 72, I think.
You know, these kind of nights, as Bert has said, and Buddy has said, and Ed talked to you briefly, with accolades of, like 11 years, and it makes my starting on the Tonight Show with you.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's back there saying, gee, you got to do good, and you got to wish Johnny luck, and what have you, which we all do, But I, observing in the back, say from the bottom of my heart, Johnny, you're a very wealthy man.
Remember what happened last time you said that?
I know that, but
Yes.
I don't mean it in that sense. The good Lord has blessed you and your family and your lovely wife. And thank you so much, Bert. Bert is lonely. But, it's a very difficult thing when Burt Reynolds, who's a very glib guy, Buddy Hackett, one of our great comedy minds, and Ed McMahon, who's at the end of the couch, annoying Buddy now saying, can't you use me in Vegas? Ed knows and I know, Johnny. Yes. You don't have a friend. You have me, John, because I still feel you're hot in the business.
I always loved when the guests would interact with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you kind of, when I was old enough to be watching like talk shows and so, you didn't have that as much, where the first guest would slide down the couch and the next guy would come out.
Yeah.
Like that Norm and Courtney Thorne-Smith clip.
Right. I was going to say, it was like, I caught the end of that.
Yeah. It didn't happen as much in like the 2000s, say. But in the 60s, kind of coming up in New York, they were genuinely friends. At least Rickles tells stories of like hanging with Ed McMahon and Johnny back in the day.
What were you doing 11 years ago?
11 years ago, I was in the lounge in the Sahara Hotel. Yes. And I owe that to a guy called Stan Irwin and my manager, Joe Scandori. And I was in the lounge, and we used to do a show at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's the first time I met you, and you sat at the far bar. Now, truth? Now, they think I'm kidding.
We had met before in New York, before you got this.
That's right, when you had the daytime show, hit the clock, win a cookie. Hit the dime, hit the buzzer. What was that dumb show you had?
Well, it was called Do You Trust Your Wife?
You heard the crowd?
Yeah, well...
Everybody watched.
Kept me going for 4 years.
It sure did. And meanwhile, I was up in Connecticut at the Red Lobster watching a lobster come off the table going, don't do that, I'm Jewish. Anyway, folks, segueing. 11 years ago, I was in the lounge, and I'll never forget when I met you. And you sat at the back lounge, and I got so nervous, as I am tonight. For the first time in the history of The Tonight Show, I say with honesty, I am nervous. Nervous, not in the sense of worrying about my security as a performer, but because it's like an anniversary, a special night. I'm being very sincere about this. And I must say to you, Johnny, on behalf of my family and myself and all your fans, and this sounds like, hey, like we said in the Army,
yes, I know.
Making the nose go purple. The guy went, don't go purple. But what I'm saying to you is, I thank you for making my family and yours truly get a little bit up the ladder, and I appreciate it.
Well,
God
you don't
bless.
have to say that.
Don, please shut up.
I think that's the last time we have to hear Rickles thank Carson for a little while. So this is another taste, because I was like, so is Rickles just going to do a monologue where he's joking about the news of the day? That doesn't feel like Rickles, and he certainly did not do that. This is a taste of what he would do.
Lovely lady. Could you stand here? Would you stand?
She knows.
Do you have some sort of illness? You're a stunning lady. Are you Jamaican?
Half.
Half Jamaican? What's the other half?
Black.
Black. Perfect for my needs. You can drink rum and you can be my live-in help. What's your name, dear?
Holly McGee.
Holly McGee. You don't mind my kidding with you, do you, Holly?
No.
Don't be nervous. No. Ever since Roots, they do what they want. I don't understand. Give Holly a nice hand. She was shaking over.
She did not like that.
This is classic. This is probably the number one, if you asked anyone that even peripherally watched The Tonight Show back in the day, for your top classic moments, this would probably be in there. When Bob Newhart was hosting, and Rickles and Newhart were obviously great friends. Rickles was on the show, and he's doing like this act out where he ends up kind of basically hitting the cigarette box against the table, and wackiness ensues.
It'll be wonderful. You just sit with him and hum to animals and birds all day long. And you'll get a day job, go back to Chicago and do what you do best. Carry the 2, 5 and 5 is 6, 7 and 7 is 14, and that's $40. Okay, you can now go to Mexico. It's notes. This is not your land, you crazy cunt. You're not going to have the land. You stupid man, you're not going to have the land. It's no good. This is not your land. You take... Oh, Carson's cigarette box. Oh, I broke his box. I broke Carson's cigarette box.
So he loves that he did it. You can tell he broke Carson's cigarette box. And Newhart, by the way, it's very subtle. I don't even know if you can hear it, but Newhart just goes, "Oh no."
There's no reeling him in at that point.
So then the next night, Johnny discovers what happened.
Uh-oh. What the hell happened to this?
Well, as long as you've seen what happened.
You know how long I've had the cigarette box on his desk?
You brought that up from New York City?
I brought this from New York. What on earth?
It happened last night.
Who?
Don Rickles.
I did not see the show last night.
Don Rickles did it last night.
Are you putting me on now?
No. Don Rickles did it last night on the show.
What the hell did he do with it? The wood is broken. That's an heirloom.
That's an heirloom.
This is what I was referring to when I said if it was like anybody else, they would have been out of his life forever.
Oh, you know what? I never even really thought of that. You're right. So here's what I think. I think Rickles genuinely broke the cigarette box by accident.
I do too.
I think now we're involved in a bit. I think we're watching. I think no one's not going to tell Carson that happened. You know,
and he's a great actor, and that was
he does a pretty good job, I think there.
Yeah.
But I think he's in on the bit. But what still makes this interesting and a great TV moment is that Carson kind of breaks breaks the fourth wall, and it's not what we usually would see on the Tonight Show. And this was at a time, I think SNL has done a bunch of stuff like this since, but this was at a time where you would never see the goings on, behind the backstage on a television set. That was something that was very foreign to people. So this was like a really cool moment that Carson came up with.
I just saw him in makeup getting ready to tape that FPO Harky, whatever. CPO Shirky.
I don't know. He told a joke and it didn't go well, and he got upset, and he did a number.
Is he in?
He hit it. He hit it with his hand.
Is he taping now?
He's taping across the hall. CPO Sharky.
Can I get over there?
Dana Carvey's amazing.
Be right back. Come on. Just follow me. Is he in studio? Are they taping? Are they on the air? I don't give a damn if they're on the air.
The crowd's all fired up too. Kick his ass, Johnny.
Fuck him up.
Rickles, hold, stop the taping. Stop the taping. Somebody broke my cigarette box. Come here. Come here. I do wonder, hold on.
Well, I think most people involved were in on it. I don't know if Rickles was in on this.
I don't know, man.
I can't tell. It doesn't seem like he knew Carson was coming in.
No, he had
He's pulling it off well if he was in on it.
He had like that, this is funny smile on his face, and then the other guy on this show also was. It's acted.
I think the rest of the show had to be in on. Johnny's not just going to interrupt an NBC show taping some bit no one knows is going on.
Who's going to tell him no back then?
That's true. No one's going to tell him no. But I guess my point is, Rickles could be on it, but it doesn't seem like it. I
don't know if anyone's in on this or if this was even I think this could have been spur of the moment.
It could be completely improvised. I would just be surprised. I don't know enough about technology in the 70s if they would just be ready to go like that to follow him into the hallway and everything, you know?
Yeah, he's got a big corded microphone.
Yeah.
I just started the show. I picked my box up off my desk that I've had for 9 years. My box is broken. They told me you broke it on the show last night. Well, I really... You
big dummy. And so they go back and forth for a little while. It's a great television moment. And then as Carson's about to leave, Rickles goes, Johnny Carson, everybody. And Carson goes, they know who I am. Why do you always do that? This is a clip, much later clip from like late 80s, early 90s, but it's them talking about the old days.
Good to see you, John. Thank you. It's nice to see you. Let's clear that up. I must say, both of you guys, I haven't been on in quite some time. Yes. Because Freddie told me you didn't want humor. And it's good to be back with you. Both of you are good friends. And why don't we're the Musketeers. Why don't we go back to the old days in the Copacabana with broads? No, thank you. No. Forget the money. Now you got a big estate. You play tennis. He gets up in the morning and goes, do we own anything?
So wait a minute. You can pick on him and you can pick on me. But just because coming up now, next month, March, I think, 14th, something like that?
Yeah, March 14th.
Is your 25th, the silver wedding anniversary, right?
Right, yeah.
Now that's important. But, sure. But you waited. You see, you didn't get married. You, 45, 40, something like that?
Don't get crazy. I wasn't 45. Why don't you make me 80, spitting up in the hall?
You were close to 40. You were 40.
No, I was 38. You know it. You were there every night saying, how old are you?
Why did you wait to 38? Most guys
because I hung out with you and him. I didn't have a chance. Both of you were boozing.
Now, wait a minute.
Copacabana every night in New York and Danny's Hideaway. The people you don't know, these are places that are gone now. These people that drank with us are dead. It was just the three of us every night to anybody.
Yeah. That's right. Bring yourself. I want you in on this, too. You were not exactly, Father Flanagan in those days.
Father Flanagan?
Girls. Remember, you like girls.
Making a rabbi.
You like girls. Didn't you? Hi, Connie. Over here.
Father Flanagan. Is the reason I love that clip is just that, by all accounts, it seemed like both Ed McMahon and Johnny were world-class boozers. Yeah. So it's just hilarious for Rickles to call them out on that. I know I've referenced it before. I guess there's really no episode, unless we just did a full-on Tonight Show episode. I don't know where we would fit it in, but there is a great clip. Go find it yourselves, I guess, of Johnny calling Ed McMahon out for being drunk during the show. Yeah, a little liquid lunch. Did we, Ed? And then it's like trying to get his words out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I have no idea where we would place that.
Yeah, unless maybe we'll do an Ed McMahon episode someday.
That'd be a perfect spot. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
This is Carson roasting Rickles.
This is a little slam that Carson gets back at Rickles. It was I shouldn't say rare, but it was rare for him to hit him with a Rickles-like zinger like this.
It's great. And then we stayed at the Regency Hotel. Have you been to Regency?
No.
Have you been to
I
Regency?
have
not. No, both of you probably were at the downtown Dixie. I was at the Regency. That's a classy place.
Well, I suppose it.
When you're making love to the wife, they come right in the room and go, just continue. You want flowers?
Why, did they think you were dead?
We'll be right back.
He says, I'm ending on mine.
that wants to say, hey, I'm going to break character and really talk about my buddy.
Right.
He's able to deliver a sincere message, but still come off as Rickles. And that's a tremendous talent, I think.
Yeah, and you said that, sorry to end on a somber note, but in the future, if you guys are watching along and you see any footage that is a square shape and not a rectangle shape, it's not going to probably end positively. They're probably old and dead. So that's usually how it ends.
yeah, we're going to end with a guy dying very often.
Often. But this is him on Dateline.
But what is it that you think he would want us to say about him? In other words, we all want to leave some sort of legacy. Would he want us to celebrate his sense of humor at least?
Well, believe it or not, in my opinion, I think he would say, don't do that. I think he would like us to laugh and kid around about him, but I don't think he'd like us to be serious saying he's gone and poor Johnny and he was sick and all. He wasn't that kind of guy. I think he just wanted God to put him where he's supposed to be, and that's it. And make God laugh for a while. But he certainly didn't want to fuss about him. And as I speak now, I just hope that somehow he hears me speak. And I know, Johnny, we all loved you, and wherever you are, you'll keep him going. But he was the last guy to say, hey, give me some accolades. He wasn't at all like that.
We had a reporter say tonight, I think, and rightly so, that we missed him even before he was gone. What will you miss about Johnny Carson, Don Rickles?
His soul, his caring for my wife and I, and his great spirit when I was on the show, and how he always made me look like a champion. He was something else. Like people in the business and the public used to say it was an event when I went on, because he himself made me look like beyond belief, and no one can replace that.
And what I love about that clip is that Don doesn't change himself at all. Like, and I'm sure I've been guilty of this, where I think it's kind of everyone's impulse when someone passes to just use the tone of he was like a brother to me. He was the greatest man. Yeah. But Rickles talking there, his tone is literally no different than any other clip we played. He's like, hey, he's like, I love Johnny. He did a lot for me. I don't think he'd want us to, sob over him. I think he'd want us to remember the good times. And so that was Rickles. I think he was always true to himself in the sense that you could tell he was like a sweet guy. Mm-hmm. Newhart did tell, I was listening to Newhart tell one story where his wife Newhart's wife didn't know Rickles' onstage act. And, Rickles and Newhart, longtime friends. The four of them would like double date all the time and hang out. And then the first time Mrs. Newhart went to see Rickles act, Bob warned her, like, hey, just so you know, the guy that you love so much, he might get like dirtier than usual. And I think the way Newhart tells it is the first thing he did on stage is refer to Bob Newhart's wife as a hooker in the front row. I don't know. Anything else to add on Rickles before we get out of here?
Go watch Toy Story. He's magical in it.
Craig's plugging Toy Story on this show.